is coming.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you and daunting me. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoke and gasoline. It's just a ghost of you and me. Of you and me. All these whispers.
My name is James Hershey.
In the rain.
Right back.
All these shadows in my mind. With my reflection I can't find. It's just the ghost of you and me. It's just the smoke and gasoline. It's just the
I know how to
ghost
do it.
of you and me. Of you and me. Don't let 'em take you away. Don't let 'em bring you down inside. It's just the mirrors in your mind. Don't let 'em bring you down.
How's it going, guys? This is horror author James Hershey Jr. from the Staring Into the Abyss radio show. In this video, I would like to talk about the Surrency haunting. Now, in the early 1870s, a Georgia family was at the center of a whirlwind of bizarre and sometimes violent poltergeist activity. Quote, "That place was possessed by something evil." End quote. Now, this was the opinion of Herschel Tillman, recalling many visits that he made to the home of Alan Powell Surrency when he was just a boy in the early 1870s. Now, he was just one of thousands of witnesses to the strange and sometimes violent paranormal activity that plagued the Surrency home. Now, the Surrency home was one of the most well-known and most witnessed cases of this kind in American history. Alan Powell Surrency was a sawmill operator, and he was also the founder of the small town of Surrency, which is in southeastern Georgia. Now, he returned home from a trip to Hazelhurst in October of 1872, and when he got home, he found that his house was in mid-haunting, so to speak. There was all kinds of activity going on. And in a letter that he wrote to the Savannah Morning News, this is what he said, quote, "A few minutes after my arrival, I saw the glass tumblers begin to slide off the slab, and the crockery to fall upon the floor and break. The books began to tumble from their shelves to the floor, while brickbats, billets of wood, smoothing irons, biscuits, potatoes, tin pans, water buckets, pitchers, etc., began to fall in different parts of my house. There have been many other strange occurrences about my house. These facts can be established by 75 to 100 witnesses." End quote. It sounds like the Surrency house might have suffered an earthquake. And that theory is actually one of the most popular theories to try to explain the phenomena that happened there, to explain it other than paranormal means. But that explanation just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. I mean, it doesn't hold water. Because the strange activity lasted for weeks to years, and it was off and on. The Surrency house was the only place that was affected by this so-called earthquake, and an earthquake just simply could not explain all of the bizarre phenomena that took place there. Although the Surrency phenomena is usually referred to as a haunting, and was attributed to by witnesses to ghosts, the case actually has all the earmarks of poltergeist activity. When I say poltergeist activity, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's ghost. But it's actually two separate things, because poltergeist activity doesn't actually have anything to do with ghosts. It's actually a psychic phenomenon, rather than one that is caused by a haunting. And there were actually no real accounts or reports of an apparition of any kind at the Surrency home. Now, most poltergeist cases will center around a human person. Usually it is a female, and usually she is around the age of puberty. That's just the majority of the cases, that's what it is. And at that time, the Surrency family had 8 children that ranged in age from 3 to 21. So that kind of fits. News of this so-called haunting spread like wildfire. And soon, Surrency was the center of a media frenzy. There were reporters and curiosity seekers from all over the country and even England and Canada that all came down to the town hoping to see some sort of paranormal activity firsthand. And a whole lot of those got their wish. Now, like the Bell Witch case, the poltergeist activity at the Surrency house was extreme. And it was also very diverse. Now, I'm going to go through some of the different phenomena that occurred there. There were unexplained screams that were heard. There were voices that came from an empty bedroom. Plates, platters, and books would fly off the shelves all by themselves. Ink bottles would leap off the table. Doors opened and closed without anybody around them. The hands of the clocks spun very fast, and sometimes they would even move backwards. And they had one clock that was a chime clock, like one of those ones when it reaches the hour, a chime happens, almost like a cuckoo clock. And that chime clock actually struck 13. And when I say struck 13, I don't mean it went to the number 13 because there was no 13 on the clock. But when the time came for the chimes, instead of just being 12, it actually did 13 of them. Hot bricks fell from nowhere and landed on the roof and in the yard. So they just fell out of the sky from seemingly nowhere. A pair of boots walked across the floor all by itself, with nobody in the boots and nobody moving them. At meal times, objects that were on the dinner table would dance all over the place. They would dance around. Flaming logs rolled out of the fireplace on multiple occasions. And this one I think is really cool. Several hogs and chickens appeared in the living room from nowhere. Like they didn't walk in, they just all of a sudden appeared in the middle of the living room. And this actually happened in front of one reporter that was there to do a story on the house, and it scared him senseless. I mean, he was freaked out about it. And the last thing is the covers on the bed and the sheets would roll up and down at night. When people were in the bed and when people weren't in the bed, they would just go up and down, up and down. And I don't mean like raise off the bed. I mean like you would roll down the covers to get in the bed and then pull them back up over yourself. That's what happened over and over again on multiple occasions. Now, in an effort to get rid of this activity and protect his family, Surrency sought the help of clergy. And he also brought in scientists and spiritual mediums and psychics. And none of them had any success. None of them could cause the activity to stop. Even after the house burned down in 1925 and the family moved to another home, the activity seemed to follow them, and it started up again at the new home, which was all the way on the other side of the county. And it actually wasn't until Alan Surrency's death in 1877 that the haunting finally stopped. Now, some people say that it continues to this day, and that around the town of Surrency, there are all kinds of things that happened. One of them is a famous ghost light that appears as a bright yellow ball of light on the railroad tracks. Now, whether this is actually true or not, I don't know. It might be, or it might be just one of those things where the town has this haunted past or this paranormal past, so they have a new story to tell now. But it might not be based in fact at all. When Surrency died in 1877, the activity stopped. To me, that tells me that most likely he was the one responsible for the activity. So if we go back to this poltergeist theory that it's a psychic phenomenon that's caused by a human using a form of telekinesis to move things around. And when I say that, I don't mean intentionally, because a lot of times when you have poltergeist activity, what happens is objects get moved around and stuff, and the people don't even realize they're doing it. A lot of times when they lose control of their emotions, it'll happen. And it's just one of those things that happens without somebody actively trying to make it happen. So he may not have even known that he was the one causing it. But the fact that it stopped when he died, to me, that seems to point to the fact that he was the one causing the activity. And with his death, that psychic energy stopped and the activity stopped. So I think that most likely that's what happened here. I don't think it was ghosts at all, because ghosts can sometimes, if they harness enough energy, can do something small like poke you, or maybe pull your hair, or cause a knock, or something like that. Usually when you have activity like this, where stuff is flying across the room and things are appearing and all that kind of stuff, usually that's poltergeist activity, which is caused by a human being. It's the whole idea of poltergeist is kind of, it's not like the movie. It's different. It's not anything to do with ghosts at all. There's no haunting going on there. With a poltergeist, it's simple psychic phenomena. It's telekinesis that is performed by a human being. And like I said before, they might not even know they're doing it. In most cases, they don't know they're doing it. But that's where it stems from. It's not ghost related. So the idea of calling it poltergeist and haunting is kind of a misnomer, but I believe that's what it was. As always, you guys are free to make up your own minds. Let me know down in the comments below what you think it might be. I'm pretty sure this one's not a hoax. I mean, that's, I don't think, a very viable answer to this, because there was so many witnesses to this activity, and it went on, like I said, for years. And you had newspaper people that came in and did articles on it. You had scientists, you had priests, you had mediums, you had all kinds of people, plus just all kinds of normal people that came in just to get a look. So there was so many witnesses to this activity. So we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this activity actually took place. Now, what it really was, that's the question here. And like I said, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, whether you believe it was a psychic phenomenon caused by Surrency himself, or whether you think it was some sort of ghost that could do things that most ghosts can't do. I'll be interested to see what you say. But that's all for the Surrency haunting. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel so you can check out all our videos. Please listen to us on Sunday nights at midnight on Para X on Staring Into the Abyss, our radio show. It's a great show. We cover paranormal topics and present all kinds of cool evidence. So I think you guys will really enjoy that. And like I said, thanks for listening. And until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. I love you. Bye-bye.